Hello artists, welcome to your Monochrome Collage class. In front of you, you should have your wax paper underneath your canvas. Your canvas should be long ways like so. Your large brush and your large sponge brush. You have your glue and your blue paint and just a bunch of fun recycled items. And we all kind of have different recycled items in our bag. But let's go ahead and get started. What we're going to do today is we are going to take our recycled items and glue them onto our canvas. And once it's a little dry, then we can go in there and start painting them all one blue color. So the blue color that we have. This is, again, a monochrome, so like one colored painting. It's with these fun recycled collage items we have that we're putting together in kind of whichever way or order you want. Just be sure whenever you glue them down, they're nice and flat and they're not going to fall off easily when you paint them. All right, so again, go ahead and grab your big brush and any one of your recycled items. I'm going to grab this leaf that I have. I'm going to dip my big brush into my glue and I'm going to find a nice flat area, as flat as it can get, on my leaf. So I think this part in the back is going to probably be the most flat. And I'm going to add some glue as much as you think your item needs. So again, the flattest area, so that's the part that's going to stay on your canvas. And then maybe carefully put your brush on top of your container and carefully push down on your item and be delicate with your items. You don't want any of them to break. And you can place them anywhere on the canvas you want. You can even have them kind of coming out a little bit off on the sides as well. And if you need to, you can always go in there and just kind of carefully do some touch-ups underneath where your item might be touching the canvas and you want it to stick a little bit better. And this glue is going to dry clear, so if you wanted to, you can carefully even go on top of some of the items and just place the glue a little bit on top. Once you're done, you're going to be doing the same thing again. And again, this is a collage. You have all these fun items working together however you like. I'm going to go in there with my big brush again and my glue. Find a nice flat area of my recycled item where I think it's going to stay nicely on my canvas. And you can add as much glue as you want. Maybe not put it too close to your color so you don't get the two confused. I think that's going to be pretty good. Make sure everything is spread out. You don't want or it's not even spread out. You just want to make sure everything is just kind of covering all spaces, and by the end you don't have just a bunch of items one corner. You definitely want to cover the canvas the best you can with your recycled items. Again, grab another item. Place the glue as much as you think it needs. These are all going to be painted, so remember they're all going to be maybe showing a little bit of the item underneath and any details, but a lot of it will just be colored in blue. You can overlap your items, so let's say I wanted to grab this Q-tip, put some glue on it. You can always overlap items as well. Kind of look at your design. Do you want any items to be close together? Do you want them to be far apart? Again, if you want them to overlap, just be sure that they're not going to fall off easily. Make this here. I'm going to push down on it. Make sure nothing is going anywhere. For anything that seems really hard to glue, you can always place the glue onto your canvas first, because remember it's going to dry clear anyways, and then lay your item on top. So if you feel like that might be easier for some of your items, lay this on top. You can also use that method too, and have fun with your items if you want to kind of change the shape of them if it's possible. because again, this will kind of show through your paint. I don't want any of my paint to be dripping. I want to make sure it's on there nicely. Another piece of string. Find another fun spot. Oop, make sure it's not dripping. I kind of fill up this space a little bit. Might even make a nice fun round shape, just going round and round. Very cool. My leaf needs a little bit of a push here and there. All right, I have this really fun bubble wrap. But again, whatever item you want to be next, just kind of look at your design each time and where you want it to add. Look how big and how small it is. See if it's gonna fit the way you need to. If there's any items that you can tear and want smaller pieces, don't be afraid to kind of get in there and tear up some of the items too. Maybe have this go a little bit underneath the leaf. Sleeve. I don't want it to go anywhere. If you want some of your pieces to be sticking up a little bit, that's fine. Just know that you're gonna have to paint it. So if it feels like it's gonna be hard to paint, then go ahead and push it down. Because at the end, again, we want it all to be blue. We don't want any of the colors from our items or our canvas to be kind of poking through with color. All right. Another fun thing too, you can kind of design with your cutouts as well. If you want it to like create a fringe, you can. If you want to cut out a certain shape, you want to go round and round for more of a circle shape, you can. But again, this is your creation. It's all about how you want it to be. As long as it's sticking onto your canvas, finally, you're good. I think I'm going to tear this ticket in half. Maybe put one on the left side, one on the right side. I want more of the cardboard side to be showing, so I'm going to paint the back of this one. Seems like I got some blue on it, but that's absolutely fine. I'm going to paint over it with blue in just a moment. little pieces. We have some of this showing. Ooh, I did it. I knew I was going to do it. Let me go wash my brush, and I'll be just right back in just a moment. Keep continuing to glue some fun stuff on there. If you did the same thing, if you wanted to go to the nearest sink and wash off your brush. And once you are done with completely gluing everything down, you can either put your brush off to the side, or if, again, you are close to a sink and you're able to wash it off real quick, you can go ahead and wash it off. Because in just a moment, we will start painting our collage. So we'll be painting over all these fun items. Let's see. My brush and my glue off to the side. Give it a couple minutes to dry so you don't see those shiny spots with your glue too much. Give you guys a couple more minutes, and then I'll show you how to start painting everything. Whenever you're ready and when your glue isn't too shiny, you can start in with your sponge brush and just kind of dip it into your blue paint. Again, be sure it's not dripping off your sponge so it doesn't get too messy. But kind of carefully go in there, find your driest areas where there is not shiny wet glue, and you can just kind of pat on there. Or just kind of move a little bit up and down. If you need to kind of get underneath your items a little bit, you can too. But this whole thing is going to be that monochrome color, so just one color. Always go back for more. Again, be sure that it's not dripping. So if you just wanted to bounce, if you wanted to hold some of your items, if it's a little bit easier, This paint will kind of help things stick together a little bit easier too. So as you're just kind of painting on top of things, the glue will help them kind of stick together as well. You are going to get a little bit messy, so if you wanted to clean off your hands, you can. But I would probably wait till the end because it's just going to keep happening. Do my best to avoid to get on top of anything that's too shiny. Give those areas a little bit more time to dry. I think that kind of jumping up and down with my sponge brush works the best. But again, if you need to, you can just kind of sweep a little bit here and there. The sponging will give it more of a kind of a bumpy texture too, so you'll see a little bit more of that texture with moving your sponge brush up and down than you would with just like the softening of the sweeps. But again, it's up to you. This is your creation, how you want it to all kind of come together. It looks so cool. This is definitely something you can do at home too. If you just kind of get a piece of cardboard, glue recycled items on it, and then paint it with just one color, it just looks very, very artsy. I've seen a project where a kid takes their old toys that they might not want to like throw away and glues them with like a hot glue gun, I think, onto like a mirror, around a mirror, and then like spray paints it. So then they have all their old toys around a mirror, but it's all one color, so it kind of looks a little bit more professional or a little bit more cool than if it was just a bunch of colors and all the toys were very visible. You can always let your paint dry for a couple minutes and then go over it too. So, because if it's too wet, sometimes the paint will just keep coming off. So you can always go back and go on top of it with a second coat to get your color more solid, or just to really get that color on there nicely. And once everything was dry, if you have a Sharpie at home, you can always sign your name somewhere on it where it's nice and flat. Usually we do like the bottom right-hand corner. Again, you want it to be super dry. And the more I paint it, I feel like more, again, it looks like the items are disappearing. It's just not all kind of forming together to make one big art piece. I'm not really painting the sides, just kind of concentrating on the front area of my canvas. And behind your canvas there's a wooden frame, so if you wanted to hang this, you definitely could. You just have to make sure everything is glued on there nicely. Nothing is going to fall off if you decide to sit it upright. Lost a piece, that's okay. I'm going to continue to do this for about 5 or 10 more minutes, but I think we are for the most part done. If you can sneak underneath any of the other pieces, you can. It looks a little bit more solid blue, right? Perfect. But this is your last step. Once you're done, again, if you wanted to wash your brushes, if there's a sink nearby, you can. You can maybe use them for another project in the future. Otherwise, you are all set. Thank you, artists, so much for joining us. Continue to fill in all the space. There is your monochrome collage creation. Hope you had fun, and hope that you continue to do fun recycled art like this. There's so much around us that we can always use. Even if you find a piece of paper, you can glue stuff on there. Whatever you want to use in your recycled art, welcome to use. Thank you so much again, artists. Hope you had a great time creating, and hopefully we will see you soon.